In Jerusalem, almost 2,000 years ago, Jesus was led like a lamb to the slaughter. The problem is that sin separates man from God. The solution was Jesus, the Messiah, who was sacrificed for the forgiveness of sin so that the punishment of sin could pass over us. This is why the New Testament declares, "Of Jesus, for Christ, our Passover lamb has been sacrificed." Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video. The crucifixion of Jesus is one of the most significant events in Christian history, recorded in all four Gospels. The location of his death, Golgotha, the place of the skull, has been a subject of intense historical, theological, and archaeological interest for centuries. The traditional site, now marked by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, has strong archaeological and historical support. This document will explore the key evidence that supports the authenticity of this site as the place where Jesus was crucified. 1. Biblical accounts of Golgotha. The Gospels provide important clues about the location of Jesus' crucifixion. Matthew 27 verse 33. They came to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Mark 15 verse 22. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Luke 23 verse 33. When they came to the place called the skull, they crucified him there. John 19 verse 41. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. These verses indicate that Golgotha was outside the city walls at the time of Jesus, a recognizable landmark known as the place of the skull, near a garden and a tomb, which aligns with the traditional site. 2. Early Christian commemoration of the site. The earliest Christians venerated the site where Jesus was crucified. When Emperor Hadrian rebuilt Jerusalem as Aelia Capitolina in the 2nd century AD, he constructed a pagan temple over the site, likely to suppress Christian worship there. In AD 326, Emperor Constantine's mother, Helena, identified Golgotha and Jesus' tomb and ordered the construction of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The site remained a central pilgrimage destination for Christians, providing strong historical continuity. 3. Archaeological discoveries supporting the traditional site. A. Excavations of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, 1960s. Archaeologist Virgilio Corbo conducted excavations under the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in the 1960s. His findings include a 1st-century agricultural layer containing grape, fig, and olive seeds, suggesting a garden was present at the time of Jesus. Evidence that the area was a limestone quarry in earlier periods but had ceased operation and was later used for burials. The discovery of rock-cut tombs, consistent with the Gospel accounts of Jesus' burial nearby. These findings support John 19 verse 41, which states that Jesus was crucified in a garden near a tomb. B. Discovery of the Garden Gate, 1970s. In the 1970s, Israeli archaeologist Naaman Avigad excavated the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem and discovered a 1st-century city gate. He suggested that this was the Geneth Gate, Garden Gate, which was mentioned by Josephus, the 1st-century Jewish historian. This gate would have led to the area where the garden and Golgotha were located. This discovery is significant because the New Testament states that Jesus was crucified outside the city walls, Hebrews 13 verse 12. This confirms that the traditional site of Golgotha was outside Jerusalem at the time of Jesus. C. Structural layers of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The modern Church of the Holy Sepulchre stands on the same site as earlier churches built by Constantine and later Christian rulers. Archaeologists have confirmed that the location of the apse, the semicircular recess marking the place of crucifixion, has remained unchanged since Constantine's church. The bedrock under the church matches ancient descriptions of Golgotha as a hill-like rocky outcrop. D. Hadrian's temple and its destruction. The pagan temple built by Hadrian in the 2nd century AD was later destroyed by Constantine in the 4th century. Christian sources, such as Jerome, recorded that Hadrian had deliberately placed a statue of Venus over Golgotha to suppress Christian worship. When Constantine's builders removed the temple, they confirmed the existence of a rock-cut tomb, now part of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This supports the idea that Hadrian's construction was an attempt to cover up the Christian holy site. 4. Alternative site, Gordon's Calvary. Some Protestant traditions argue that Gordon's Calvary, a hill with a skull-like appearance located near the Damascus Gate, is the true site of Jesus' crucifixion. However, this theory has weak archaeological and historical support. No ancient Christian sources mention it as Golgotha. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has continuous historical veneration dating back to the 4th century. Archaeologists have found no 1st century evidence connecting Gordon's Calvary with Roman crucifixions. 5. Roman crucifixion practices and Golgotha. Archaeological findings support the gospel descriptions of Jesus' crucifixion. A 1st century crucified man's ankle bone was discovered in Jerusalem in 1968, proving that the Romans used nails in crucifixions. Roman crucifixions typically took place near city gates and along major roads as a public warning. Golgotha's proximity to a city gate fits this pattern. 6. Conclusion. Is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre the authentic site? The evidence overwhelmingly supports the Church of the Holy Sepulchre as the true site of Jesus' crucifixion. Early Christian veneration since the 1st century. Archaeological confirmation of a garden and tomb nearby. Discovery of the Garden Gate, showing that Golgotha was outside the city walls. Consistent structural continuity, with churches being rebuilt on the same sacred site. While alternative theories exist, they lack the archaeological and historical weight of the traditional site. For nearly 2,000 years, Christians have venerated Golgotha as the place where Jesus gave his life, fulfilling his mission to redeem humanity. Modern archaeology continues to confirm that this sacred ground holds deep historical and spiritual significance. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.